In the village of Umuokoro, there was a man named Nnamdi who did something strange at funerals. While others wept and mourned, Nnamdi laughed. His laughter wasn't quiet or nervous, it was full of joy, as if he had heard the funniest joke. The villagers could not understand it. How could someone laugh at such a sorrowful time? Children ran away from him, and adults whispered behind his back. Some believed he was cursed, while others thought he had lost his mind. But Nnamdi never explained. He simply smiled and walked away. One morning, the village woke up to heartbreaking news. Elder Obina, the wisest and kindest man in Umuokoro, had passed away. Obina was loved by all because he always helped those in need. When children were hungry, he fed them. When neighbors quarreled, he made peace. His death cast a shadow over the village, leaving everyone in deep sorrow. A grand funeral was planned, and the villagers prepared to honor him. Yet, beneath their grief, a worry lingered: would Nnamdi come? And if he did, would he laugh? On the day of the funeral, the villagers gathered under a large tent in the village square. Everyone wore black, their faces etched with sorrow. Obina's family sat at the front, crying softly. The priest stood to begin the ceremony, and a heavy silence filled the air. Then, just as the priest started to pray, Nnamdi appeared. He stood at the back, wearing his usual wrinkled shirt and dusty sandals. The villagers tensed, holding their breath. As the priest spoke of Elder Obina's life, Nnamdi suddenly burst into laughter. It was not a quiet chuckle but a booming laugh that echoed through the crowd like rolling thunder. The mourners froze, their eyes wide with shock. Obina's son, Chike, jumped to his feet, his face red with anger. "How dare you laugh at my father's funeral?" he shouted. The villagers murmured angrily, some demanding that Nnamdi be thrown out. But Nnamdi did not stop. He laughed harder, clutching his stomach as if he could not help himself. His laughter left everyone confused and furious. Chike stormed towards him, fist clenched. "What is wrong with you?" he yelled. "Why do you laugh when we are mourning?" The crowd moved closer, waiting for an answer. Nnamdi wiped the tears of laughter from his eyes and smiled. "I do not mock your father," he said softly. "I laugh because I see what you cannot." The villagers gasped. "What do you mean?" Chike demanded. Nnamdi shook his head. "You would not understand," he murmured. Then, without another word, he turned and walked away, leaving the villagers in stunned silence. After the funeral, the village buzzed with whispers. Why would Nnamdi say such strange things? One woman asked. "Maybe he knows something we don't," another replied. Some believed Nnamdi had a secret, while others were convinced he was simply mad. But Chike could not let it go. He felt humiliated and angry. "He disrespected my father," he muttered to himself. "I will find out what he meant no matter what." Determined, Chike began asking questions about Nnamdi's past, hoping to uncover the truth behind his eerie laughter. But before he could learn much, tragedy struck the village again. A young woman named Umuokoro, known for her kindness and beauty, suddenly died. The villagers were heartbroken, their grief unbearable. Umuokoro's mother wept bitterly, claiming her daughter's death did not feel natural. Rumors of foul play spread quickly. The funeral was planned for the next day, but this time, the villagers were filled with dread. "Will Nnamdi come?" they whispered. "And if he does, will he laugh again?" As the ceremony began under grey, heavy clouds, Umuokoro's family sat in the front row, their cries echoing through the village. Just as before, Nnamdi arrived. He stood at the back, his face unreadable. For a moment, it seemed he might stay quiet. But as the priest spoke, Nnamdi started laughing again. His laughter was loud, unsettling, and filled the air with an eerie weight. The mourners turned, horror flashing across their faces. Umuokoro's mother wailed. Why do you laugh at my daughter's death? The crowd turned on Nnamdi, furious and confused. But this time, he stopped. His face grew serious as he looked at Amoka's mother. I do not laugh at your daughter, Nnamdi said, his voice calm but firm. I laugh because the truth is near. The crowd gasped. Whispers spread like wildfire. What truth? Someone shouted. Stop speaking in riddles. Another cried. But Nnamdi did not answer. He simply turned and walked away, leaving the villagers even more confused. Chike watched him closely, his anger burning. He knows something, Chike thought. I will make him tell me. That evening, determined to uncover the truth, Chike followed Nnamdi to his small hut at the edge of the village. The sun was setting, painting the sky in deep shades of orange and purple. The air was cool, and the village was quiet. Nnamdi sat outside, staring at the sky as if lost in thought. Tell me what you meant, Chike demanded. What truth are you talking about? Nnamdi sighed and turned to him. The dead do not rest until their stories are told, he said. Chike frowned. What stories? Nnamdi's face grew serious. Your father and Amoka were killed, Chike. And the truth will not stay hidden. Chike froze, staring at Nnamdi in disbelief. What are you saying? My father was poisoned. Amoka was murdered. His voice trembled with both anger and fear. Nnamdi nodded solemnly. The dead speak, Chike. I hear their cries. Elder Obaina and Amoka's spirits are restless, they demand justice. Chike shook his head. This is madness. You expect me to believe you can hear the dead? Nnamdi sighed. You don't have to believe me. But the truth will reveal itself. Listen carefully. And you will find out too. Chike returned to the village, his mind restless. He told no one about his conversation with Nnamdi, but he couldn't stop thinking about it. Meanwhile, the villagers continued to whisper. Why does Nnamdi laugh and speak in riddles? They wondered. Some said he was cursed by the gods. Others believed he had the power to see beyond the living. If he knows the truth, he must share it, an elder insisted. The pressure on Nnamdi grew, but he remained calm and silent. Unable to ignore Nnamdi's words, Chike decided to investigate. He began asking questions about his father's final days. Did anyone notice anything strange before he died? He asked his father's closest friends. One of them, an old man named Umuokoro, hesitated before answering. Your father wasn't himself in his last week, Umuokoro said carefully. He complained about a bitter taste in his food. Chike's heart pounded. He had always believed his father died of old age, but now doubt crept into his mind. His search led him to Adiku, the village herbalist, who had prepared medicines for Elder Obaina. Did my father come to you before he died? Chike asked her. Adiku nodded. Yes, he came to me, complaining of stomach pain. I gave him herbs to ease it. But I suspected something was wrong. Chike frowned. What do you mean? Adiku hesitated. It felt like poison, she whispered. Chike's eyes widened. Poison, he repeated. Adiku nodded slowly, sadness in her eyes. I warned him to be careful. But it was too late. As Chike investigated his father's death, rumors about Amoka's tragic fall grew louder. Her closest friend, Ebo, shared something chilling. Amoka told me she was scared before she died, Ebo said. She discovered something. Something about someone in the village. But she didn't tell me who. Chike's blood ran cold. What did she find out? Ebo shook her head. I don't know. She only said it was dangerous. And that she needed to speak to the elders. A terrible realization struck Chike. Umuokoro's death might not have been an accident. Desperate for answers, he returned to Nnamdi's hut late one evening. Nnamdi sat outside, humming to himself, seemingly unbothered by the storm of questions surrounding him. "You were right," Chike admitted, his voice heavy with frustration. "There is more to my father's death and Umuokoro's fall than I thought." Nnamdi nodded, his face calm. "I told you, the dead don't lie," he said. "But now you must decide, will you uncover the truth, or will you let it stay buried?" Chike clenched his fist. "I need to know the truth," he said firmly. Nnamdi smiled faintly. "Then listen carefully," he said. He leaned forward, his voice low and serious. "The truth you seek is dangerous, Chike. There are people in this village who would do anything to keep their secrets hidden." Chike frowned. "Are you saying someone in the village killed my father and Umuokoro?" Nnamdi nodded. "Yes. And they won't stop at anything to protect themselves. You must be careful." A mix of anger and fear stirred inside Chike. "Who are they?" he demanded. Nnamdi shook his head. "That's for you to find out. But be prepared for what comes next." Chike couldn't sleep that night. Nnamdi's words echoed in his mind, and his heart burned with determination. He decided to keep digging, no matter how dangerous it was. Early the next morning, he gathered his father's old friends and asked them to share anything they knew. Most denied knowing anything unusual, but one man, Uche, spoke up. "Your father argued with someone shortly before he died," Uche said. Chike leaned forward. "Who was it?" Uche hesitated before answering. "It was your uncle Is," he finally said. Chike's stomach tightened. His uncle Is was Obina's younger brother and had always been close to the family. "Why would Uncle Is argue with my father?" Chike asked. Uche shrugged. "I don't know what it was about, but it was heated. They met in secret, and your father seemed upset afterward." Chike decided to confront his uncle. "If Is was involved in my father's death, I need to know." The idea of a family betrayal made him feel sick, but he had to face the truth. The next morning, Chike went to Is's home. His uncle was outside, sharpening a machete when Chike arrived. "Uncle, I need to speak with you," Chike said, his voice steady but tense.